Good morning. Happy Saturday. Welcome to Stamp and Create with Beth. I'm Beth Roy, an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And I'm coming to you live on Saturday, March 29th, 2025. So we're just going to wait a second here. I'm going to make sure my camera's straight and we're all ready to go. So if you pop in, say good morning. If you watch the replay, let me know you watched. Say hi. I'm just going to wait for some more people to join me here. Good morning, Joan. Thank you for all the love already this morning. I appreciate those. So good morning, good morning. Excuse me. It has been storming here. It isn't right now, but I know last night I had a few issues with my internet, so I hope this morning we do not have any of those issues. Good morning, Christy. So I'm just going to go through some updates before we dive into our card today. If you are one of my Paper Pumpkin subscribers, this is the April kit. It has this alcohol ink design technique in this really pretty box. And that is for April. You have until April 10th. So if you're my subscriber, you need to create an online account in my online store, and you can shop with more than one demonstrator and your account stays the same. So if you support many of us, then no worries there. But you have to claim your Paper Pumpkin subscription in order for your demonstrator to get credit. So they just moved the Paper Pumpkin site over to our StampinUp.com store. So if you haven't claimed it, please do so, because I do have some that are unclaimed. Only the active subscriptions moved over. So if you had one and you canceled it, you'll just need to go into your account, scroll down to Paper Pumpkin, I think it says Paper Pumpkin subscription, and there you can do the prepaid codes, you can do a monthly subscription. They're all considered separate now, the monthly versus the prepaid. But I will tell you, if you want to get these, if you are a collector and you have a cut and emboss machine and you want to get the add-on that goes with the quarter, so these dies coordinate with each kit. So the Hugs coordinates with the April. The label die coordinates with the May Mountain Majesties. And then the flower and the leaf die coordinate with June, which I'm really, really excited about this one right here. I love it. It has a new color in there, Timid Tiger. This one actually looks like a bundle. It doesn't say it coordinates with it, but it does look like a bundle that is coming. So I'm pretty excited. These two are really more my style. But if you want to get all three, you can buy a prepaid code for 3 months. And because you can buy that in the online store, you can add the dies with it. So monthly subscriptions are separate orders. Nothing can be added to those, but you can add things with your prepaid code. So that is a way to save on the shipping cost of ordering the dies. And so that's just a little tidbit. But if you haven't made your account in my online store, it's really simple. You can go online and just create an account. And then you can claim your Paper Pumpkin subscription with the email that you had it under. Good morning, Linda. Good morning, Jenny. So I just wanted to show you those. We have a new catalog that starts May 8th. Or I'm sorry, 6th, not 8th. I don't know where I got the 8th from. May 6th. So I'm pretty excited about that. I did pre-order. You've probably seen lots of demonstrators getting their big boxes full of stuff that we could pre-order. We couldn't order everything in the catalog. So I chose not to pre-order yet. I just ordered the colors. So I'm really excited about the 5 new colors coming, and I'm going to show you those when I get those. So if you have questions about Paper Pumpkin, shoot me a message. I'm happy to help. It is a little bit of creativity in a box, and you can do the project per the directions. It has everything in the box you need. The stamp set, the ink, all the glue embellishments. You might need a pair of scissors, and maybe a stamping mat. And in your very first box, you get a clear box or block to reuse. So you get a block to reuse with your stamps. So it's a great price point to jump in. So if you have questions, just let me know. All right, y'all ready? Good morning. If you haven't said good morning and you're watching, hello. Today we're going to jump in and I'm going to show you some very simple stamped cards. And then I'm going to show you how I stepped it up just a notch with a simple scoring technique. It is called the Faux Tile Technique. So I posted some of these, and this was Under the Moon stamp set. So, and this Love Every Moment is a huge greeting from a set that I haven't played with a little bit, but I have. I mean, you've seen me play with it. Every Day, You and Me. It's a scrapbooking set, but I loved this greeting. I just felt like it went with it. And I have lots of graduations this year, and so I thought that greeting I think could go for a graduation card, and then I can write a little message in there. You know, a lot of times I like to have like an adventure saying, and I have some retired ones that I've kept, so I just really like that. Good morning, Maggie. Thanks for joining us. So here's my simple stamped piece. And I'm also, this is on the Willow White. So we have Willow White it came out with the two-tone cardstock, but it's not two-toned. So this is Willow White. It only comes in 12 by 12. So I had some sheets of it from my mixed packs, and I've been kind of playing with it. I love it for stamping. It's a thin layer. It's just a little bit thicker than Designer Series paper. But honestly, I was trying to see if I could really tell much of a difference between the basic white and this. And this is a little brighter. But I do not like it with coloring with blends. So I will give you that little warning. You can test it out yourself. I just felt like my blends bled and it didn't hold it as well as the basic white, which is dyed and a little bit thicker paper. But I do like it. So here's the Faux Tile Technique. So I stamped almost the same card, only I scored this one first. And when you stamp, if you don't press, you can see I pressed a little hard on my boat there, and it did go into my line. That's okay. It kind of gives, and I did the same thing on this. It leaves the white, excuse me, sorry about that, to give kind of a tile effect. So I finished all my cards on the inside. You'll be so proud of me. I love these. So those were some, I think they could be grad cards. They could be a masculine card. I also love the ocean, and I love seeing, just viewing everything. I don't like swimming in it, but I like seeing the boats go by. I like seeing the dolphins and things like that. So I love that set. And then here's my next one. This is using that Everyday You and Me. So these are the flowers. And then I used the hello is from, hold on, I'm looking at my stamp sets over here, Citrus Blooms. So I just kept it really simple, but then here's the difference when you score it first and step it up a notch. So I just really think everyone can do this. You don't have to have any special tools. Our trimmer actually has a scoring blade. I am going to show you how I score on my big Simply scoreboard though, because I find that to be easier for myself than the trimmer. So those were both on the Willow White. This is on the Basic White. And I just stamped. I hadn't used this stamp set, so I thought I better ink it up. Seaside Wishes. I love the beach. I love the sand. And I thought this would be cute for a birthday card. And then, you know, let me show you the stamp set because I had seen this image, but I hadn't really used it. And look at that. I love that texture. You could use this with more. I know it's little pebbles or maybe glass, like the glass rocks. But you could also use it to kind of make like a stone fence. So that's what I thought of immediately after I started stamping it. So there's that card. And then here's the one I posted a peek about. So this is another stamp set that really needed some ink. Let me tell you what it's called. Penciled Pear. So this is the stamp set. Love it. Has this also this little flower. And I like the Just a Note. And so what I did is I stamped this in Old Olive, and then I used my watercolor pencils, and I made sure not to go down into my grooves. So, and then there's the inside. What do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts. You guys ready to make a card using this? So I just wanted to show you, I love simple stamped cards, okay? Sometimes it's hard for me to make a one-layer card. And I call this one layer. It's actually two because if you count the card base. But this is what I would call one layer because I've only glued one layer on. So I just really think it steps it up, and anybody can do it. And I didn't use any die cuts. So all of my greetings, I just stamped on scraps and I cut them out and used some dimensionals. So, oh, let me show you the inside of these. I did all my cards. I know this is like a pain point for me, is to make sure I have finished cards. So everything was finished on the inside. What do you guys think? You ready to dive in? It's super, super simple technique. I will tell you, I tried, I don't even know where that paper went. I tried to do, I had this vision of the oranges because I love the citrus blooms, but they don't have filler stamps. It's a coloring. And so what I tried with it, I didn't think worked out well. So I'm going to keep trying on that, and I'll show it to you if I can perfect it on what I wanted it to look like. Sometimes I do have fails. Thanks, Joan. I think this technique's really cool too. Linda, well, the penciled pears, that was in the annual catalog. That's retiring. And I think the Seaside Wishes is also in that catalog, as well as Under the Moon. I have no idea until April what is retiring. I know a few things that carried over because they are visible in the new catalog. The Everyday You and Me was an online scrapbooking product. So, but all of it can be found in my online store, so you can easily find it. Jenny, I always get blamed. I'm just showing you what I love. And I was guilty of buying some stamp sets and not really using them yet, or maybe just using the greeting. So I really wanted to give some ink to a few of them. So thank you, Linda. What do you guys want to stamp? What do you want to stamp? I did have some more ideas about doing a vintage card with basic beige instead of using white paper. So I don't know if you guys want to give that a go or if you just want to see the technique on white. What do you think? Let's get some creative chatter, creative ideas going in the comments, and we'll get stamping. What do you think? Any thoughts, or you just want me to go with it? You like the vintage? What set are we using? Well, Jen, I haven't picked a set yet. So we can try. I just ran out of time to try it. But I thought let me just start cutting some paper here. The options. Oh, I asked for the paper, do you want to do basic beige, like a vintage look? Or and I just have basic white here. I'm actually out of the white willow. I cut all the pieces I had up. So I'm just going to cut this. I do 5 1/4. So I'm going to go ahead and cut everything because I don't know what base we're going to use just yet. And then I cut by 4. So I'm just going to cut my layers really quickly here because we will need layers for the inside anyway. Some of them I had cut, but I've been putting a lot of cards together, so if we do basic beige, it'll kind of have a vintage feel. If we do the basic white, I think it just feels like our regular card. I love vintage. I used to do a vintage card class all the time. I loved doing that type of card, and I haven't really done it for a while. Okay, so everybody said they want to try the vintage. I'm so glad. Thank you, guys. I really wanted to do it, but I didn't. I don't like to come on and just always make all the decisions. I like for you to be part of it. Okay, so, and I'm just cutting some white. I was cutting it just in case. But we will use the basic beige. I think everyone has gone for vintage. So now, excuse me, let me go ahead and tell you how I'm going to score this. I am sorry. My throat is a little dry. Let me get a drink of coffee here. Okay, so when I score this, you want your score lines to be even. And so you may have noticed that on this one, I divided it in half and then scored each half. Okay. So I don't know if it's exactly equal, but it's pretty close. And on this one, I scored it every 1 inch, and then I cut the little 1/4 of an inch off to make it even, or you know what I mean? But you could have a longer piece down here, and if you're putting a greeting over it, you probably wouldn't even notice that it's a little bit different. The sand dollars. Well, you know, Maggie, when I grabbed that set, I did think of you because I know you love the beach. And I love that set. I love it that the sand dollar is huge. We have had sets in the past that have had a sand dollar, but they've not been that big. So I actually have several of them, but I do like that one. That one is the one that's available in the store. So I see vintage with the sand dollars, and then I saw vintage with pears. So we're going to vote on that in a second. But first, let me talk to you about scoring. So you can use your trimmer. This is the 4-inch side, and you can do it. I like to do the 1 inch over here and then do 2 and 3, or flip it around. I just have a harder time scoring with this much hanging off my edge. So you can use the trimmer, but I am going to pull in the Simply scoreboard because it is easier for you to see how I scored it. So you can count all these little lines. The thing with your trimmer is it has a 1/16. So my Simply score only goes to 1/8. So that helped me because sometimes I accidentally count too many lines. But this way is 5 1/4. So you would score it, if you want to score it in half, you go to 2 1/2 and then you move over 1/8. Okay? And that gives you a half. If you want to do it every 1 inch, then you just lop off a little bit at the bottom and it looks just as good on your card front. Okay? But I am going to bring in the Simply Score just because it's easier to score it all in one go. So this might not be on your list, and if you just, you know, make these cards every once in a while, you can do it with your trimmer. I feel like, hold on. This has feet, and something fell off. Okay. So I think I'm just hanging off my board here. So I'm going to put this up here. And so if you score it in half and then half those, you only get 3 lines. If you score it every inch, you get 4. So that's the difference, is the scoring's a little bit closer. So I'm going to go ahead and do it this way, and then we'll just cut a little bit off. And that's easier to do on your trimmer as well. So I'm using the smallest side of my stylus, and I'm just pulling this. It has grooves. You just pull it along. You want to make sure it's scored really well. Now, I'm not going to score at the 5 because I'm going to cut that off. Or it might work where our greeting fits. So I want it to be scored really well. You want it to be really deep. Okay? Like that. And I'm going to turn it. I'm going to do it again. And I also found that when I used my trimmer, sometimes when I closed my thing, I felt like I was maybe flattening some of my score lines. So I do really like the scoreboard. And if I feel like, oh, I didn't get that one deep enough, I can put it right back where I had it and go over them again. Okay, so that's how we're going to create this faux tile. Now that we're done scoring, we're going to stamp on top of it. So see, easy. Okay, so we're going to vote. You guys ready? Everybody ready? I'm going to move some things out of the way just because I have too many things by me. Okay, so let's vote. I saw this one, and I saw pears. So we're going to make a vintage card, and let me pull in my 2 cards that I made with these 2 sets. So we're going to vote for sand dollars or pears. Let's do 1 for sand dollars, 2 for pears. Let's make it easy. And I'm just going to start pulling some inks while you all are So I pulled over my watercolor pencils and I pulled out some inks. Oh man, I think sand dollars are winning. So if you're on and you want to vote live, get it in there. Good morning, Vicki. Well, Vicki, right now we're voting on which stamp set to use. We're making a vintage faux tile card with either sand dollars number 1 or pears number 2. And I think sand dollars are winning. I love them both. I do. I love them both. So, I think we're going to have to go with our sand dollars, but don't worry because I love the pears, so I will be making more cards with those. And if we have time, maybe I'll stamp them and let you see how they stamp. Because I love this penciled drawing. Oh, Vicki, you voted for pears. Okay, is there anybody on a tiebreaker? Any tiebreakers out there? Maybe I'll just have to stamp 2. All right, let's start stamping and we'll see if I have time to stamp 2. Okay, so to do my vintage cards, I love bringing in my browns. And let me just, and you can also use gray granite. It has a brown tone, okay? So here's our color range. And we will also use maybe some white. I have my watercolor pencil over here, and so we can use some white as well. So we're going to stamp. Now we need to decide what we're stamping and kind of how it's going to look on here. We have these cute starfish, and then we have the sand dollars, and we have the glass rock pebbles. And I used, for this one, I used the Simply Said Happy Birthday, so we can stamp whatever greeting we want. I do just stamp it, like I have these little strips left where we cut the paper. Depending on what we cut, it will fit on there. But I like to do a little bit smaller greeting, unless I'm using a set like this where it didn't fill the page. Sorry. So let's start stamping. And this color may come in as just the card base. So that's something you have to think about, is if you want like a tone-on-tone look like this, or if you want to bring in the darkest brown as your base. But let's see. I'm thinking, I haven't played with this. Let's try crumb cake and see how we like it. We're just gonna dive in. So as you can see, this is really large. So remember, on the front of our stamp cases, this says images at 95%. That means the stamp is actually bigger than the image on the front. If it doesn't say anything there, the stamps are the size of the images on the front. So just in case you didn't know that, you weren't aware, I'm going to wipe this off really quick because I stamped in gray granite earlier, and I'll be honest, I have no idea if I cleaned my stamp. Because sometimes I'm I'm not very good at following rules. So this is crumb cake. And you can decide if you want it to be portrait or landscape later, unless it's like a directional stamp like the sun and the ocean. So I'm just going to stamp this down here in the corner. And I'm trying to hold the pressure, but I don't want to smush it because then it will go into the lines. And I'm not going to worry about if it stamps perfect. So there's one. Stamp one of these. So it almost looks like a beach because we picked basic beige. So this is the smaller sand dollar, and I'm just kind of laying this over top, and I try to make sure that I have it across a few lines so that it creates that tiled effect like that. And I'm not going to worry about spaces like that didn't stamp perfect. You could line it back up and do it again. You can see where I had the ink on there and it didn't come off. You can do that if you want. I'm just going to let it go. It's okay. So, curious, raise your hands in the comments if you've tried this technique before. Now I'm going to use some tone on tone here. I'm going to use some basic beige, and I'm going to do these little glass. They're like the glass pebbles. I have a scrap paper here. Just a second. My basic beige seems really juicy, and so I kind of want to see how that's going to stamp because I want to pull some of this to the side. So I keep a plastic spoon, and I'm just gently going down and lifting up and going, and it helps move some of the ink. Then I can just clean it off, and my spoon's right here in a little bucket next to me. So let's do that now. You see it kind of moving back, but see it stamps different and the textures show up better. So you can dab some of it off. I can kind of see it moving back, but I'm just going to kind of let it go. And you can also stamp off and stamp on. Doesn't really show, does it? Do this again. Okay. And it's not going to look as white because we are using basic beige. So where the other one really had a white line, it's not going to show quite the same. Vicki, you've done it. Linda, you haven't tried it yet? Well, I hope you'll give it a try. I think it's a really cool way to kind of just step up your cards a little bit. So you can have a simple layer card and do this technique. And it's really cool. So you notice I'm not filling it in. On the other one, I filled it in. I'm just kind of, I'm using all the little glass sea pebbles, but I'm not filling it in quite as much. I'm going to stamp something else on here. I want to do this little starfish. Now we need to pick a color. So pecan pie is a different brown than these. So, and then there's gray granite, which is a gray brown. So what do you think? Should I stick with crumb cake and do this little guy in crumb cake? I'm going to put him right here. Maybe 2 of them. Or should I use pecan pie, which is a little bit different brown. Let me just show you the difference in the browns. I'm going to stamp here on my scrap paper. Joan's suggesting the starfish in Pool Party. That could work. I don't know how well it will cover the basic beige as far as stamping over top of those sea rocks, but it might. I haven't stamped with a stamp, so I don't even know how it stamps. So that's pecan pie, and this is crumb cake. And remember, it's going to look just a little different because the base is not white. It's basic beige. So we did tone on tone with our little rocks, our little sea glass. These are, the sand dollars are in crumb cake. What do you guys think? Any thoughts on, should I keep it the same and limit how many tones? Ooh, Vicky's suggesting wild wheat. That could look vintage. It is a yellowish brown, or a brownish yellow, I mean. Sharon says pecan pie. And I think I'm going to reserve this color for my base and my greeting. And I have these little speckles, this little speckle stamp. And I think I'm going to do some speckles in the darkest color. So what do you guys think? So I've seen two colors to add in. And I've seen a pecan pie. Anyone else want to jump in with their thoughts? I see another pecan pie. So this is how this will be on our card base. You could also use crumb cake. All right, I just pulled out these 2 colors just so that you could maybe see them stamped because, you know, I like to see options. And, well, you know, grid paper, that's what it's here for. So that is wild wheat. Pebbled Path is a good one too. It's really dark. It would be dark like there's the pool party. So if you like a pop of color with all your natural tones. I see a lot of pecan. I see pecan. Thank you, Sharon. And good morning, Sharon. Thanks for joining us. Ooh, blushing bride pink. Yeah, I always loved blushing bride with my vintage cards because I like to have a little pop of pink. We're going to try, I'm going to try to keep it to my current colors, just in case somebody is trying to replicate this. They can follow along. So you can kind of see this was my scratch pad as I was working through my other cards. All right, all right, I think we're going to go in. You like the pool party too? Yeah, the pool party kind of pulls it out of vintage, but I think it could still work. I just don't know if it will cover, like, when I stamp over this. Like, let's see here, because right here's one. And that's my only worry, is I don't want my little, yeah, see, I don't think it's going to show. So if I had done it, you know, if I do it in an area that doesn't have any, it might show okay. I was kind of going to put it here and overlap that a little bit. But yeah, so testing it out. I do like the pool party too. I love it. I'm just afraid it won't show up very well. And I hadn't intended on bringing in any colors. And yeah, I think this one looks good too. Of course, I always like all of them. You know, pool party is one of my favorite colors, so. So that's why I like to test things on my grid paper sometimes. Even though it's white, it's going to show up a little different than it is on here. It kind of helps you before you stick it on your card. Because this card, because we've scored it, it's not like we're going to flip it over, right? You can, but then it's not going to be the tile effect. It's just going to have a texture. So let's go with the pecan pie. I saw several people vote for pecan pie. If you don't have pecan pie, substitute in your wild wheat. I do think that would go well. That was a good suggestion. I loved all of them. I like the pool party too. Maybe if I hadn't stamped these and I wasn't overlapping, then that would have worked out. Maybe I'll test it. We'll see how much time we have today. So I'm going to just quickly stamp this. And see, it went down in my line a little bit. Whoops. And this side didn't. So sometimes you have to be careful to not put as much pressure so that the line stays. It's not ruined. If it does, it's okay. Let's put it up here. There we go. So I haven't used that stamp, so why not? Here, I have an idea. I have this plain piece right here, and I'm just going to quickly simple stamp some of what we just did, and I'm going to try let me see how many. I'm going to try wild wheat, and I'm going to try pool party, okay? So let's leave this out. Just thinking ahead here. Now, this isn't the tiled card, but we're just going to simple stamp just so you can kind of see those colors. I know. I'm terrible sometimes, but I can't help it. I like for you to see all the options. That's what Saturdays are about, right? So I want you to kind of see them. Like I said, it's not going to look exact because I didn't score this, but you'll get to see the colors. And I think Vicki said Pebbled Path too. Pebbled Path is like a darker version of gray granite. So if you have that color, that would work as well. Now, where's my, this is Basic Beige. So I'm going to do, the Pool Party first. So that's what it looks like with Pool Party. All right, Maggie. We will be here. Okay, now this is Wild Wheat. I have it off to the side here, so sorry, I know I'm shaking my table. And then I'm just going to grab the big thing of the Sea Rocks and put a few around. Now, I'm using Basic Beige ink, and so it gives kind of that tone-on-tone look. So there's Pool Party. And there is the Wild Wheat. Just to give you some ideas of how it looks. But I always like to just kind of get my inks out and play a little bit on the grid paper. You can buy the grid paper in the online store. It's a large pack. It would last you for quite a while. But it is nice. It protects your surface. And it is nice to stamp on. So there is, if you use Pool Party, okay, so I would stamp these before I overlapped. And there is the Wild Wheat, just so that you can kind of get an idea. It isn't scored, so it's not the Tile Technique like on this one. And see, you have to be really careful sometimes about how hard you press it, with the photopolymer especially, because it will get down in there. But the idea is that these little lines show, and it looks like a tile. I love it. It reminds me of like the specialty tiles that you would maybe hang up on your wall or on your floor. So now here's our base, okay? And we'll use this piece for the inside. And I'm just going to, let me just stamp this big. I'm going to stamp this big sea star. Haven't used this one yet either. And maybe a few pebbles. So the sea glass I love because it has kind of a bigger, it has a bigger section, and then it has these little ones that you can really use in between. And I'm going to stamp those in the Basic Beige. Now we're going to do our greeting in Early Espresso. Yeah, it does look very different, Linda. That's why sometimes I love using the colored bases, but you really have to kind of look. It does change your colors, and depending on what color you use, it can kind of mute it can kind of mute them. But it's really neat. I love that. One of my other favorites to stamp on is the Smoky Slate. Oops. And there. So that's our inside. Hopefully you saw me stamping that. I just realized I was down too far. So my apologies. I just stamped around that. So I did tone on tone with basic beige, and I used pecan pie. So I just matched it to the front. And now we just have to put a greeting. So yeah, I love playing around with colored layers like this. When I did my vintage classes before, the lightest colors we had was Sahara Sand. So if you have that color laying around, it's a little bit darker than the basic beige. And I used Crumb Cake or Very Vanilla. You could also use Very Vanilla. So, and we have Very Vanilla in the two-tone. So, and we also have Basic Beige coming in the two-toned. All the colors will be available in two-toned coming May 6th. So, you could easily stamp those layers instead of the dyed cardstock and have plenty of leftover. I might have Basic Beige. I know I have a piece of Very Vanilla, but I'm not sure what all I have in my stash because right now we have limited colors in the two-toned until the new catalog. So, all right, what kind of card do we want to make this? So this is going to go inside. We're going to stamp, and I may have some basic beige bigger scraps somewhere, but right now all I have right at my fingertips are these little strips from where I cut my layers. I do have a bucket where I keep all my scraps. Basic beige isn't something I use all the time, so I don't have a pile over here beside me. But we are going to stamp so that it's in the same tone. Now you could do, if you like heat embossing, you could stamp on Early Espresso and heat emboss something in white. And FYI, your blends will color over heat embossing. So if you heat emboss it and then say you wanted it to be crumb cake, you would just take your crumb cake blend over your heat embossed words after it's cooled off. So there's a little tip for you. Maybe I should make a technique video on that. I haven't done that in quite a while. And I'm sorry, I know I keep clearing my throat. It's allergy season already. Spring started and I just have a dry throat right now. So we need a greeting. And the greetings in this set are, you absolutely made my day. That would fit on this. Love you might fit. Your friendship is the best gift. We'd have to find something else to stamp on. Sometimes the simplest things mean the most. Or we could pull in our Simply Said. I love this little greeting set. It has thank you, let's celebrate, happy birthday. All of those would fit easily. Even the hello would fit easily on this strip. Exactly, Jenny. It's come on in the last couple of days. Everybody in the house is feeling the effects of the pollen. So, all right, what do you guys think? You want to make this a birthday card? It could say hello. I do like the greetings, the fonts in this set. You absolutely made my day. I like it when it has a scripty font with like the typeset font. And then I think this is a great set to have on hand too, if you just need to add greetings. We have a couple different greeting only sets. So what do you think? Vintage lends itself to sympathy. I could see that, but I don't know if I would make sympathy with sand dollars. What do you guys think? Would you make a sympathy card? I guess if somebody loved the beach, I don't know. What do you think? Tell me your thoughts on that. See, I make vintage cards for everything. And I know you do too, Vicki. So I know you like the vintage cards. I also have that little hello. If you don't want this one, I have the one I used on my other card from the Citrus Blooms. This was one of my favorite suites that's in the annual catalog that's going to be retiring in May. And it has this little scripty hello. And this was one of my favorite sets. Again, on the front, it says images at 85%. So you know that when you open this, they're going to be bigger. But I do like this greeting. I used it on this card. I just like how it's really thin. It's a thin script. Yeah, I think it could be. You're right. I probably wouldn't pick these, but someone that lives near the beach or loves the beach, this might be perfect for them. I've been seeing a lot of, I think everybody's stamping beachy things because, well, they're tired of winter. But I don't recall seeing anything, and maybe I just haven't looked enough. I'm always curious what other people think, and that's part of the reason why we meet up on Saturday is I'm curious what you guys would choose to do because it might be something I haven't thought of. So what do you think? I see a lot of hellos, so I think I'm going to do that greeting. But if you, and I don't have any thin sympathies. I need to, oh, you know what? This does have a just checking in. I need to get some more of those stamps. I noticed that I'm lacking. I don't have a lot of the current stamps that might have sympathy sayings. I think I only have a few. Lots of lobsters and crabs. Yeah, that's one thing is I am not a lobster fan. I know I might get some hate comments for that, but I do love the beach, but I am not a huge seafood person. I'm just not. I eat some things, but lobster's not one of them. So that didn't interest me. So I definitely think when we buy things for our collection, you should definitely be buying things that you absolutely love. And I have some other sets that had crabs in it, so I didn't want to buy the set just for that. Sometimes I have my son look at the catalog and tell me what he likes because it gives me other ideas. And he likes to be kind of part of it, so... All right, I'm inking up. I chose the hello that was from the Citrus Blooms. I just kind of like the scripty look. Let's see, I got to stand up here. I don't know if I stamped it straight. That's the other beautiful thing about scripts is you don't have to worry about if it's perfectly straight because it looks like handwriting. So this is just one of my favorites. I hope the Citrus Blooms stays. It's one of my favorite stamps, and I tried coloring it the other day, and it's been so long since I've played with it and colored with it. I actually had to watch my own video to remember what I did. Okay, so I'm going to just trim this up. You could use your scissors. So if you're new and starting out and you're just starting to make cards, this trimmer is a great investment for when you want to kind of test things out or maybe try a few things, because it has a cutting blade and a scoring blade. And I use it to do all my layers. You can use it for this technique. Okay. Yeah, I agree, Joan. I've seen a lot of cards, and I'm glad people like it. It's just not my thing. And I think that's okay. You're allowed to say, that's not my favorite. So I'm not a fan of just buying everything. I am buying what I'm going to use. So you'll notice I didn't chop off that little end. And I don't really think you can tell a whole lot of difference. If it bothers you, you can also put it this way and then put your little hello down there. And it kind of distracts from the fact that it's not exactly even there. And then this can go on the inside like that. So this can be a portrait card as well. It can be either way. Jenny, you like to eat lobster, but not on your card. Yeah. We went on vacation many years ago. And my son wanted crab, and the going rate was $60 a pound. And on the menu, it was a pound of crab legs. And I was like, yeah, sure, get whatever you want. And the waitress said, ma'am, it's $60 just for that one meal. And I was like, what? So needless to say, he did not get a full pound. But yeah, no, I don't like paying for it either. But I guess you could, live with just having it on your card. All right, now we're just going to put it together. What do you guys think? So let me know your thoughts on the technique. And, if you want, I'm going to go ahead and stamp the pears really quick. I'm going to just do the pears quickly, and I'm going to show you what they would look like. I'll probably have to grab another piece of basic beige if we want to do vintage, because I just realized I stamped on all of them. But I will stamp the pears really quick just so you can kind of see what that would look like. And I'm just using liquid glue. You do want a strong adhesive. You've scored this. It has a little bit of texture to it, okay? So I like the liquid glue because it works for everything. And it has a little give room so that if I get my layer crooked, I have a chance to fix it. Okay, so I'm grabbing some dimensionals here. We're going to pop this up. I'm going to pop this right down here in the corner like that. Now this can become anything. And I guess if you wanted to have a sympathy message, you could say hello on the front and then write whatever you want on the inside. So this card could become lots of different occasions. So what do you think? Here's my original on white with gray granite, and this is pretty peacock. So everything's gray granite. This is just stamped off, and then I use some, oh, I forgot to do my speckles. Let's add some of those in. I completely forgot my dottage, as some of us call it. Let's just throw a little bit in. And I'm just lightly there. And then if you want a little on the inside, you could There, I like that. I forgot I wanted to use that stamp. So we used all of the images. I think there was only one this little one that did I use that one? No. So I used almost all of them. You like the brown tones? So it does feel beachy, doesn't it? And I know sometimes we think brown feels drab. I know I feel like that sometimes when I'm crafting with it, but I do love it. It is a great color. Thank you, Joan. Thanks, Vicki. So, yeah, I love it. So you can choose bright colors and have some fun with it. This could even be Coastal Cabana. If you like really bright cards, you could use the Coastal Cabana or the Summer Splash. I always forget to use that one. It's a teal and I love it. It's really bright, but it's fun. And I keep forgetting to use it because I go to my old favorites. So there's that one. So let's do the pears really quick. Get this stuff out of the way. Figure out what I did with my pear stamp. And I'm going to just, I'm going to grab some more basic beige here really quick. Brand new pack to bust open here. So I do want to mention, while I'm cutting this really quick, that I do have a card class that's going to be releasing later today, or tomorrow, because, you know, I don't know what today holds just yet. But it is going to be the card, like the cards that I showed last week that I had done years and years ago. I'm revamping those layouts, and I'm using the Botanical Textures, that black and white paper, and it's going to be really fun. So keep your eyes out for that. It's going to make 9 cards, and all the details will be coming out about that. So you can hop in and play along. It comes with a video tutorial, or if you live near me and you'd like to do an in-person class, then let me know so I can make an in-person date. Okay, Linda, you don't have basic beige. Okay, you could use, if you have the old Sahara Sand color, you could use that. It's just a little bit darker. Or to make vintage, you could use the Very Vanilla. Okay, when I did card classes, my layers were actually Very Vanilla. So you can use that as well. So those are some other options. Okay, I'm going to score on here so you can kind of see how to do it on the trimmer. So I'm at 4. This is the 5 1/4 inch side. You just want to make sure you score it really well. It needs to be deep so that the ink doesn't go down in it. 3. 2. And then I like to turn it and do 1 so that I feel like my paper is a little more stable using the 1 on this side. So there's my 5 1/4 inch side. Remember, we have that side that has just a little bit more. And I'm going to trim it off just so you can kind of see. Now this side does 1 inch as well. It's at 4 inches, so it's a little bit easier because it is even. And then again, I was just turning it so that I can use the 1 inch that's on this side. Okay, so there's that. Now I have that long side. I'm just going to move it to 5 and trim that little bit off. Okay, Now let's stamp our pears really quickly. I'm going to, I did the big pears, so I'm going to do it just the same. And I'll do the little pears on the inside like I did on my other card. Oh, sorry, that was really loud. I apologize. Did not mean to drop my block. I'm going to use crumb cake to stamp it. On this one, I used Old Olive to stamp my pears. And if you have a small enough greeting, you could just stamp your greeting right onto your layer inside one of your squares. Okay, so I've inked that up. And you can kind of see this is a red rubber stamp, so it's a little different. I love this stamp style. I love the sketched look of it. I have my stamp kind of wonky on my block here. Soft greens. Yeah, you mean soft greens, Vicky, for the beach theme, or? I think it would be great. Linda, yes, I know you love bright. So you could do, even if you just did white or the very vanilla, Linda, you could use that with the Summer Splash or the Coastal Cabana. Those would be two really bright, fun, beachy colors, I think. I think those would be great. Now, I made this landscape again, but you could have stamped it so that it went portrait. And then I'm going to take this plain basic beige piece, and I'm using that crumb cake. And I'm just stamping some pears along the bottom. Isn't that cute? I just love these. I don't know why I haven't used it before now. Now, if you don't want a greeting on the front, like this, you could leave it plain and put your greeting on the inside. That's an option. Now, I'm going to actually use the watercolored pencil. So let me get this grimy sheet out of the way. Yes, Beach. Okay, I just wanted to make sure because I had moved on and I wasn't sure. So okay, so for these pears, I used the Daffodil Delight pencil and the Granny Apple Green. But I think, let me see what I have in here. I'm not sure what 100% what colors I have. And I have several sets. I have old sets and I have a new set. I know I will want my white pencil. Somewhere I have another white pencil because I have two of these sets. Oh, there it is. It's on the bottom. Okay, so do you guys want to do yellow or do you want to do, I have crushed curry and we do have a pecan pie and we have Cajun craze, which is more of an orangey brown. And then we do have early espresso. Look at my teeny tiny pencil there. You can tell what colors I use a ton. So, do you want to try a bright yellow? Or I'm just going to color it quickly. Oh, don't get that on your card. So I have pecan. So let me just bring in. I have my bag of scraps here. Get a little, now this is white, but it's just to help you kind of see the colors, because the watercolor pencils are a little different than our ink. So that's pecan. Here's my original yellow, and I don't have to color it as dark. This is early espresso. And here is crushed curry. And when you don't have water with crushed curry, it's this really kind of brownish yellow. And then we can bring in, I'm thinking old olive. I didn't mean to close my thing. Oh, I wish we lived closer to Linda. Well, just imagine this is your boot camp here with me. So here's old olive. And I like the old olive when I'm doing vintage. So I don't want these brighter greens. That's why I said you don't have to have the brighter yellow, but you could just put it on very light. And I think it would still give a vintage look. So what do you guys think? Do you trust me? I'm just going to start coloring. I'm just going to start putting some color on here. And I'm being very careful not to go down into the groove. So I'm only coloring where my lines showed up. I could envision these pears tiles pieced together in a kitchen. I think I would really like that. In my 100-year-old house that we lived in before this house, we had wallpaper that was pineapples, and I really loved it. But I had scrubbed it so many times because, well, I have all boys. And they are messy and their fingers get on the wall. And I had scrubbed my stuff so much that we ended up removing it. And it made me sad, but we had to update it. Okay. Too busy for you, Joan? Well, I don't think I would want the whole thing to look like that, but I have seen like accent tiles, and I think that looks really fun. Okay, I'm putting some green, some more of that old olive onto my pear. I don't know what I called this before, but it is a pear. If I And I had, in my kitchen, ironically, I had a tray with pears on it, but they were candles. And the previous owner had left it for me, and we kept it forever. I really liked it. I don't know if the local ladies remember that. Vicki, I'm not sure you ever were at that house. I don't think we were Stampin' Buddies then, but in some ways, I really miss that space. I didn't have a craft room, though. Okay, so I've added some green, and I'm going to go ahead and do these over here, too. Oh, while I'm at it. So I'm just adding a little old olive. And you know, I think I'm going to use the crushed curry. Hey, Maggie. Thanks for coming back and joining us. You weren't there. Oh, Vicky. You know, I was just telling the kids, I really miss that house sometimes. But we just didn't have the space we needed, so we had to let someone else love it. I am really liking this. Anyone else? I know it might be seem too busy, but I think it's perfect for a card. So I'm trying not to have really hard lines. I just kind of made that really darker than I intended, holding my pencil too close. But I'm just trying I'm trying to get all the way to that scored line, but not down in it. And I laid the green down first just to kind of give it, yeah, I did too, Jenny. I did too. What was I ever thinking? I was thinking I wanted a big yard. That's what we were thinking. We needed more space for our littles. Vicki, I lived in one of those very big old homes, and I loved every moment of it and every moment of all the fun details and cubbies and beautiful woodwork. They just don't make them like that anymore. They really don't. I mean, it was like everything was custom. That's really my style. If I could have that in a brand new house, that's what I would have. So I ended up using the crushed curry on that, and I really like how that looks. If you haven't tried using your watercolor pencils, now you could add water to this and kind of smooth it around, but just remember, I stamped in classic ink, so it's going to mix with my color a little bit. Now you could use a blender pen. It's not water, it has like an alcohol blending solution in there. I like that. What do you guys think? Oh, yeah. I remember that now, Vicki. Oh, yeah. Mine too, Jenny. That's what I'm on the look for. On our next house, I want a fireplace in my... I would take a fireplace in every room. But I'll settle for... I loved it. I had a fireplace in my dining room. And we had a fireplace in our office as well, but it wasn't usable. It was just for looks. A lot of people didn't see that space, though. Now I would use it as a craft room. I don't know why I didn't use my space better. I should have, loved it better, but I had a different space for my craft room. We had a lot of little nooks and fun things in that house. And it had a lot of build-ins, the fun old things. Again, houses today don't really have those wonderful features. And all the woodwork. So that's kind of my style. But we needed a bigger yard, so I had to let it go. But this stamping of these pears reminds me of my candles that we had on a tray that was just for decoration, but it went with the kitchen. So there we have it. And if you wanted a little lighter, you can add some of the white on top, like that. Thank you. Vicky said frame it. You could. You could make a bigger piece and score it and make pears all over it and frame it. I love it. What do you guys think? Now, on this one, I added a little bit of the Coastal Cabana around my pears. But instead of Coastal Cabana, let's see what I have in here. I want something very light. Maybe I'll just do the white. Here, I'm going to sharpen my pencil, so it's going to be loud for a second. I love old houses too. I don't love fixing them, but I do love them. Let's see if I can. I just want to do kind of a cross hatch on some of them. It might not show. Maybe I should. Nah, it's not showing as well as I'd like. I'm just going to come in with my Coastal Cabana. And I'm going to do a little bit of lines. Kind of like a cross hatch to kind of mimic the penciled part of the pear. Doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to do this. If you wanted to stay brown, you can use the early espresso pencil very lightly. We do not have crumb cake in the pencil, unfortunately. Oops. Okay. Said my signal went out, so. Again, I'm trying to be careful, but do it quick. So I just kind of scribbled, really. Kind of a cross hatch where you're just doing lines one way and then the other way. Oh, all right, Maggie. We're taking a a very long road trip to Maggie's house. I would love it. Mine was not super small, but our yard was, so that was the issue. Oops, sorry. Sorry for all the big noise. I just knocked all my pencils down. Okay, now I have to mount this. So what do you think? Do you want to try this like a tone on tone with a piece of basic beige? It would be tone on tone. Where, what did I do with my card that I made? Oh my word. There it is. My gosh, right in front of your face. This one I used early espresso. So do you want to see it with like a tone on tone look? And then we can stamp a greeting. And if you wanted this to say hello, you could probably fit this little hello right here in your little square. It doesn't have to have a layer. Ooh, vintage roses and old bottles. Joan, you would fit right in with Jenny and Vicky and I. Maybe Vicky and Jenny can post in our Stampin' Crate with Beth group the bottles that they make and the things that they make. They do beyond cards. I am not great at all the crafts, but they make wonderful things. I like vintage. I don't know, it just has a feeling that just it feels like a great memory to me. So let me grab, oh, where am I going? It's right here beside me. I'm going to grab a piece of the basic beige, and I'm going to show you kind of what the tone on tone would look like. So let me just cut a card base here. Thanks for hanging out with me. We made 2 cards. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I'm going to cut this a little bit different. So you might have noticed that this is a landscape card, but it opens this way. So how you do that is you score at 5.5. So I'm using my scoring blade. I'm scoring my whole sheet. I'm going to score at 5.5, and then you turn and cut at 4.25. So that's the other way to cut a card base. And so you can make a card that opens this way, or you can turn it and make a landscape card. And we're going to, oh, I think I'm going to stamp hello in crumb cake. So it's very subtle. Where'd that hello go? And I'm just going to use the same one, and I'm not going to put a layer, just so you can kind of see what that might look like. And however it turns out is how it turns out. There we go. Pretty good. Did I stamp it? Let me see. I'm watching my video. Hopefully I was in the frame. Oh, kind of. Sorry about that. I should have scooted up a little bit. So here's this. And let's put this on dimensionals, right? So we're going to lift it off. You could also sponge around the edges if you like kind of the distressed look. And there we have it. There are 2 cards. Some fresh ideas for the faux tile. So if you've been with me, you might have seen the faux tile technique before. I really think you can use it with a lot of different stamps. Like this, I wasn't sure if I hadn't tried line art stamp and then coloring in, but I do think it has a great effect. So there's our landscape card. There's the inside. Oh, I love, love, love this. And ironically, my woodwork was about this shade of basic beige. And then I had a, my kitchen walls were yellow. It had paneling halfway up. Beautiful handmade crafted panels all the way around my kitchen and dining room. We had 2 dining rooms. And I chose like a yellow, I think it was called Harvest Gold or something like that. I really miss it. It was, I feel like it was a very fun, old farmhouse. Happy place. I used to have all kinds of card classes and scrapbooking and things that we hosted. Okay, so I put some dimensionals on that, and I'm just eyeballing it because remember I cut it. So it's not going to be even on the 2 ends. It's not going to be the same width, or yeah, border all the way around. There's what I'm looking for, border. because I trimmed this. So it's actually this sheet. So if you want to trim them this way to begin with, you can. It's 5 inches by 4 inches, where this one we left at 5 1/4 by 4. And I don't really think you can tell. Maybe it'll depend on what you're stamping. So there's our 2 vintage. Actually, how many cards? Yeah. Okay, so I made 2 cards. Here's our ones that aren't vintage that I just used white. Again, you can use Very Vanilla, and you could use a Very Vanilla base. I don't, and I haven't tried it. I don't think I'm going to use the two-toned cardstock as a base, but I do think they're going to work really great as layers. I don't think they're going to be for the blends. I did try some of the blends on the Willow White, and I just felt like the fibers in the paper didn't hold the ink from the markers. Or maybe I just color too much. Maybe I put too much on. But definitely test it out and try it. Again, all the colors are coming on May 6th. So you can really just buy the ones you like, or you could buy, we will still have mixed packs that go with the scrapbooking workshop kits. Yeah. So there we have it. The Faux Tile Technique. So on the white, you can really, really see those lines, but I think this looks cool too. I really like this. So you can add in the background you want. You could also stamp a background. You could mask this and stamp a background, okay? Like how we stamped the dots. So there we have it. Let me bring in my other ones. So here's the one with the flowers. Here's the one with the boats. So I hope that you'll try this technique and kind of take your simple stamped cards up just a little bit. It just adds a little texture, a little bit different way of doing your single layered cards that really, really help your images kind of pop, and it's fun. Thank you, Maggie. Thanks, Linda. Thank you, Joan. Oh, Maggie, I can't wait to see what you guys do. And remember, I will create a share post here on my page, Stamp and Create with Beth, but we also have the Stamp and Create with Beth group where you can post your cards anytime you want. You can post any of your projects anytime that you want and share with us what you're doing. Thanks, Linda. Oh, I hope you do, Linda. If you need help, you know you can message me. I may be, it is nice today, so I will probably be out and about, but I will always try to get back to you in a timely manner. But just think about the stamps that you have. I like the solid stamps, but I was happy to try these line stamps and see that they come out just as great. I do plan on trying the oranges. And I tried to do some coloring with blends and some stamping, some different types of stamping to fill in, and I just didn't like the results. So I'm gonna go back to the drawing board with that one and try some more things. But I really hope you all give it a try. So if you need to stock up on any of your Stampin' Up! Supplies, feel free to go to my online store. You can find it at bethroy.stampinup.net and click on the Shop Now. I will tell you this. This is just a warning for you in case you need to plan for your budget. The basic white thick was going to go away. They've brought it back, but it is a smaller pack, and it's $14, I believe. So the cost will go up on May 6th. The other basic white packs were going from 40 sheets to 24 sheets. Those have already sold out, so they've already released the 24-pack sheets for $14. All of our colored cardstocks are going to go up to $14. So if you have some favorite colors that you want to stock up on before the price increase, you're going to want to shop before May 6th. And I don't anticipate those selling out. Those were already 24 sheet packs for all the colors. So the price point is just going to go up in May. So just FYI, if you would like to stock up on some things, maybe you're getting low on your favorite colors, you can find all of that in my online store. And if you need any help, feel free to message me. Oh yeah, Vicky, those would be great. I don't have those. So there's lots of new products that came out in March. We had March online exclusives. So I'm just trying to give some love to everything that's on my shelf. I have bought some things, but not everything. You know, my theory is buy what you love, buy the colors you love, buy what you're going to use to make beautiful cards, and enjoy your crafty time. But there are new things right now in my online store, and then we have the catalog releases May 6th. We have new kits coming, and we have new scrapbooking stuff. We have new online exclusives. So a lot of things are gonna be happening in May. So feel free to love on what you got. And then if you have bought from me, you're getting a catalog in the mail from me, and I can't wait for you to see some of the new things coming because I really love it, and I love the color. So if you haven't seen some of the other demonstrators posting about the colors, as soon as I get mine, I will show them. I am in love with them, so I can't wait to share those with you. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Enjoy some fresh air and sunshine. Hopefully the weather is wonderful where you are, and you can get out and be inspired by everything around you. And I hope you enjoy your crafty time if you get time to craft today. So take care, everyone. Thanks, and I'll talk to you soon.